Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to week 12 of BUAD 200 Digital Marketing. This week we are focusing on chapter 11 from the Stu Kent book, which is all around ORM, or Online Reputation Management. So, how are we actually dealing with customer complaints? How are we creating customer satisfaction and customer loyalty through our responses to things that happen online? So let's dive right in. Just quickly have a look at our schedule here. We can see we've got online reputation management correlated to quiz 11 from the book. So make sure you're getting that done along with the simulation round 5 there. That's due by the end of the week. We just have one more week here, mobile marketing next week, which is chapter 12. And then heading into the final exam and the submission of AS 01.2, which is the recommendations for digital strategy. So please let me know if you've got any questions on that. Email epi@okanagan.bc.ca, or we can set up a office hours appointment if you want as well. Okay, let's jump into the objectives here, guys. So we're looking at negative criticism online and how we actually manage the reputation of our company by responding to those criticisms. We want to get strategies to increase our positive online content and look at the ethics of ORM as well. Okay, let's start with this example here. This is an actual real life example that happened to Taco Bell circa 2013. This is just back in the beginnings of social media online. If this kind of photo was posted today, there'd be a far bigger viral reaction to it. But this is in 2013, and it still created a huge stir. So a couple of questions around this one. This employee licking the tacos at Taco Bell. What would you do if you were the boss here? How would you actually approach this if you were this employee's boss? If you were the PR manager for the company, the public relations manager, what would you do for Taco Bell? So how would you address this more broadly with the public? And then this last part here, guys, is if there's a crisis, this emergency crisis, what steps would you take? Like, how would you plan something out to deal with something like this happening? Because this was a real life situation that caused a lot of criticism, a lot of backlash from people online. So here's what Taco Bell actually did publicly. Obviously, the employee was fired, but from a PR perspective, guys, they put out this press release that dealt with the social media issue. If you can't read that, guys, it says on June 2nd, we learned of a photo circulating online illustrating a Taco Bell restaurant team member violating our food handling procedures. They say it's a strict policy, zero tolerance for violations. So they're answering questions that have come to light because of this. How did it happen? What they did? What they're doing? So they said they immediately investigated the situation, learned from the facts. They're continuing their investigation, and the franchisee is cooperating fully. Were the taco shells served to customers? In short, absolutely not. This was for training purposes. We do not believe employees are harmed or intended to harm anyone, but we deplore the impression this has caused to our customers, fans, franchise, and team members. So, behavior is unacceptable for people working in a restaurant. So, basically, guys, they sent out this press release responding to the overall crisis, I guess we could call it. But this does a couple of good things. This is a couple of reasons why a press release like this is handy. So if people come into a store and they're trying to ask like individual store managers about it, the store managers can refer everybody back to this press release. So they don't have to try and answer questions themselves when they may not be fully informed. And also, they're following the best practices for responding to something like this, which we will have a look at in a second. But basically, apologizing, acknowledging, providing solutions, providing transparency. We'll have a look at all of the best practices when something like this happens and how a company should respond to it. Okay, let's have our look at our definition of online reputation management, or ORM. It's the practice of promoting a positive brand image online by increasing the visibility of positive information and managing negative information. So not only, guys, is it responding to negative information, but it's also trying to push that negative information out and respond to the positive information. The second part here is social listening. So you'll probably remember this from the previous class where we talked about sentiment analysis. Social listening is a very similar process. We're actually listening to what people are saying online through social media to try and identify insights, issues, trends, weak signals, anything that's going to give us an advantage around our reputation and our positioning through what we're seeing online. Okay, so guys, we just mentioned online reputation management is not just getting rid of or responding to negative information or complaints or criticism, but it's also replacing that negative criticism with positive news. So, when we see results come up in Google, let's say Google search, for example, and we can see lots of negative news articles coming out about a certain company. Let's say Taco Bell. If you were to search Taco Bell, and you would see multiple stories come up about Taco Bell employee fired for licking tacos. That's a bunch of negative publicity. So when people are searching that, is it okay? Is it ethical to create a lot of positive stories that then pushes those negative stories out of the news cycle? So we're basically just replacing the negative stories with positive ones. So actually, when people are searching Taco Bell, they're not seeing that negative story anymore. So what do we think, guys? Is this an ethical practice? Now, I think intuitively, people might say this is unethical because you are essentially hiding negative news by creating a bunch of positive news to remove negative news. But there are a couple of things to consider around the ethics of this. So let's have a look at a few things here. One of the things that we need to think about here, guys, is that the internet is forever. These news stories are going to be circulating around the internet. They'll be accessible for all time. So if people are searching something and things are coming up and, maybe the problem's been solved a long time ago and they're still seeing these negative stories, that's going to potentially negatively affect the company, even though they may have fixed the problem, right? So there's a few different things. They're unnecessary repercussions that might continue on, even though the company has addressed the problems already. So the first thing is that people like to do business with reputable companies. So if you've got stories floating around that give a negative perception of the company, even if the company's fixed those problems and those internet stories are still floating around, that's going to give a negative perception of the company. People will do their research, like savvy customers, potential customers will do the research. So they might search deeper into a company and they may be finding these stories again, and they may not find the positive ones. So that could be an issue. News outlets will continually look for things that have hype in them, that have, that clickbait quality to them. So if they're finding negative stories, they might amplify those negative stories. Obviously, positive press is going to reflect well on the brand. So when we're putting positive press out, that's good for your company. Again, the same way that people like to do business with reputable companies, employees want to work with a brand with a clean reputation. So again, and for the same reason that we want to make sure that people are not finding stories that are just skewed to one side, employees are not finding stories that are skewed to one side. And the same thing for shareholders as well. People investing in the company would want to know that the company is reputable. If they're only seeing negative stories, then that's going to slant their perceptions. And then, this comes down to, this is not just online, guys, but if you have one employee, one bad employee, one incident, should you be labeled for that forever? If you've taken steps to solve that problem and you've taken steps to make it safer, do all of the things that you should be doing, then you shouldn't be labeled by that mistake forever. And remember, guys, the internet is forever. So if we are seeing negative stories going on forever, then that's giving a slanted perception of the company. So you may think it's unethical to replace negative stories with positive stories, but the way that the internet cycle works, it makes a little bit more sense to do that. Okay, so here's a couple of ways that we actually can do that, guys. So, when we're talking about our SERPs, our search engine result pages, we can push different news stories out of the news cycle or out of the SERP cycle in a number of different ways. So here's some tips for that. Guys, if we get lots of well-developed site links, we can see here with ExxonMobil, and not maybe everybody remembers the ExxonMobil crisis that happened. Well, it was back a long time ago now, so people might not know it. But ExxonMobil had a big oil spill, and that created lots of problems. But they have replaced a lot of the things that come up on their search page with these links here. We can see careers, opportunities, investor relations. So there's more generic company information than these news items that will come up. We want to put out press releases either on the web or on social media. Again, remember, guys, search results include social media results. So anything that we put out on those different platforms will be put into the news cycle. We want to build related sites with separate domains. So stock content is going to outrank flow content. Guys, if we remember, stock content is useful information that lasts over time, like tutorials and instructional information, reviews, things like that, versus flow content, which might be like a promotional brochure for a sale or something like that, something that only lasts for a short time. Stock content's going to last for a long time, and when people search the company, that's going to come up as one of those results. Corporate blogs are going to do the same thing. Brand sites will usually pop up. Again, we can see here this ExxonMobil. This is a brand site here. YouTube videos, because they are owned by Google. Remember, Google owns YouTube. So YouTube videos are going to usually rank fairly highly in the search results. Social media profiles are going to rank highly. And then directory listings are going to rank highly as well. So all of this here, guys, is positive content that we can use, that we can set up to actually push any negative things out of the SERP results. Again here, guys, we can see an example of this. Richard Branson, Virgin. We can see here one of the top results here. This is actually going back a few years now, but there was a Virgin Galactic crash. So we've got some negative news about Virgin, Richard Branson's company. But we've got these other ones here, virgin.com, Wikipedia. We've got the Twitter results here. These results here are going to eventually push these ones out, especially if we refresh these, add new pages, add new information to these pages. These are going to get recycled into the SERP pages, and they will push these negative ones out of the search results. Okay, let's move into customer satisfaction here, guys, because when we are thinking about reputation management, one of the main things that we're thinking about is customer satisfaction. So how people actually feel about our company. Do we exceed their expectations? And there are 3 C's, guys, that kind of define this. So consistency. So how consistent do we deliver our quality, the value to the customers over time? How well do we communicate with our customers? So how well do we listen to them? And do we put the customers first? Are they at the core of our actual service? So, guys, when it comes to online reputation management, when we're dealing with people's complaints online, customer satisfaction should always be very high on the objectives or the goals there for what we're trying to achieve. We can also get our CSAT score, which is the customer satisfaction score, which is the total amount of satisfied customers divided by the total number of respondents times by 100. So we won't go too much into that, guys, but when we're looking at reputation management, here let's have a look at a couple of examples. So this is on Facebook. This is a while ago because we've still got square images, but guys, we can see a complaint here. And we can see the response from the company, Pig Alley Boston. This is not a good response here. So we've got a complaint. Remember, guys, every time somebody complains, that's somebody that's already chosen to use this company. So they've already gone through their customer journey. They've already gone through those steps of deciding to use the company. And obviously, they've had a bad experience. But because they've already taken those steps and chosen this company, they've already done some of the legwork to actually, figure out why they would choose this company. That means that they are somebody that we can, if we treat them well and we respond to their complaints and try and fix those complaints, we can turn this into an opportunity to get more customer loyalty out of this customer. If we ignore them, if we delete their comment, if we treat them poorly, they're never going to come back. But we know, guys, the Pareto principle, 20% of our customers buy 80% of our products. These customers have already purchased from us, so it's a good opportunity to try and get them back. It's easier to retain customers, guys. It costs less to retain customers than it does to try and get new customers. So this is an existing customer. Instead of turning them away, let's use this as an opportunity to make them happy. Let's have a look at some of these other ones here. So this is another complaint about the service. And we've got a response from Atomic Burger here saying, "Hi, Michelle. Thanks so much for your feedback. I'm so sorry to hear about your experience. We'd love an opportunity to make things right. Please contact me at joe@Atomic Burger to discuss further." So this is an excellent response. They're acknowledging the problem. They're apologizing. They're offering a solution. And they're moving it to a private channel, which is also going to be important as well. We'll have a look at these best practices in a second here. This is about photos of pizza from Domino's, Australia. So this customer is saying it's false advertising. There's not that much topping, and the pizzas keep getting smaller. Domino's has responded by basically establishing the facts, correcting any incorrect information here. So they're saying, all of these pizzas are real pictures. We use these steps to actually try and make that consistent. And then they're offering a solution here as well. So what they're doing here, guys, is clarifying and establishing the facts so that other people aren't looking at this post here and thinking, oh, that's definitely what Domino's does. Domino's is saying, no, well, that's not actually correct. But if you feel like your experience was a bad experience, here's how we can help you. So another good post. Couple of other ones here, guys. Hey, O2, please get your SMSs working. I sent this girl 246 texts last night asking her out, and none of her replies have come through yet. So blaming O2, which is a UK telecommunications company, for some text mistakes. This was the response. So, guys, we can see a slightly different approach here. They're taking the comedy approach, which is actually quite an effective approach. This will start building a following because people want to see how a company will respond to these types of complaints in a comedic way. So we can see 261 shares there, 124 loves. So having this type of comedy approach is a good way to do it. There's lots of accounts, Wendy's being one of the most famous ones, that actually take a comedic approach. Okay, a couple more here, guys. Oh, so here are our best practices. Firstly, never ignore. Guys, never ignore. That'll just lead to either more complaints or other people seeing it and thinking, oh, this company just ignores people who complain. That's going to create an escalation of the problem. Never delete. Again, guys, the person who's complaining will find another way to complain. And other people that see that you're deleting complaints will obviously be angry about that. It could lead to more complaints, more escalation. Acknowledge the problem. You want to be professional, so never, use bad language, never yell at people, never do anything that's unprofessional. You do want to correct any false information, though. So if the person who's complaining is just providing a bunch of false information, you need to correct that, because remember, other people will be seeing it. It's a public space. It's a public forum. You want to make sure that other people are getting the right information, not the information that that person is incorrectly providing. Again, guys, use that as an opportunity. We want to offer solutions, potentially free goods, discounts, future offers. There's lots of things that we can do here, guys. Again, retaining a customer is cheaper than getting new customers. So if we've got people that have already purchased, we want to try and keep them happy. We want to move any complaints to a direct message or private channel. You could use email. You can use, DMs or PMs in social media. But we want to move that away just in case the conversation continues to escalate and get worse. We don't want other people seeing that escalation. So we can continue to do all of these actions in a private channel. We do want to follow up. So that just shows people that we actually care about the service that we're providing them. We care about their complaints and their opinions, and that we are actually solving the problem. And then we also want to monitor and spot problems before they become bigger. That is social listening. That's sentiment analysis, guys, looking for those weak signals. And then the last one here, guys, is refreshing our content to push those negative pages out. That's the main ORM strategy that we mentioned already. Okay, next part here, guys, is our response plan. So basically, when we are a bigger company and we're thinking about how we actually respond to criticism or complaints online, we need to have a number of steps put in place to actually respond to it. There could be a number of things here. So the first thing to think about, guys, is who is actually doing it, what people's roles are. You don't want to have multiple people posting and responding to a comment and having conflicting information. You just want one point of contact, one person talking to the person complaining, and have clear and transparent information. So make sure everybody knows their roles. Needs to be handled quickly. You don't want to wait a long time because that can cause escalation. We want to create these sentiment scores here. We can see over here, guys, is the response positive, neutral, negative, or urgent? So we can label any complaints coming in these different areas here. That's going to start building these sentiment scores here. And that's going to give us some triggers to actually take action and start responding to people. Okay, just having a look at customer service here, guys. Benefits of customer service: we're going to get better customer relationships, more balanced workloads, faster response times, improved visibility on interactions, which is going to lead to not only increased customer satisfaction, but also potentially more purchases in the future, and increased sales is obviously what we just mentioned there. Okay, couple of stats here, guys. Social media, is used 90% of the time to communicate with brands. So it's a highly used source of communication for people to contact brands. We can lower our loyalty by 50% by not answering a customer complaint. So important to get back and answer those. And again, guys, as we mentioned, creating those opportunities, turning complaints into an opportunity. 64% of consumers spend more when businesses resolve their issues in the preferred channels. So, we see people coming back and actually spending again if they feel satisfied with the way that a company has resolved their problem. So, guys, these complaints are not always a bad thing. We can use them as an opportunity and turn those customers back into loyal customers. Okay, a couple of more examples here, guys. We mentioned Wendy's. This is taking the comedic approach, looking at a different tone. We can see a back and forth here between Thuggy D and Wendy's talking about frozen beef. And we can see how Wendy's actually responds with a little bit of a biting wit. Jimmy John's Sandwich X account is another one that uses a comedy approach. So I'll let you guys have a look at those. There's a number of different companies that take this approach. It is a good way to actually build a following because people actually come for the comedy. Okay, we've got a couple of activities here. I'll let you guys choose whether you want to do these or not. But guys, we can see here we've got a couple of companies. Jillian Harris being a BC company, actually based here in Kelowna. So you could look her up. But guys, there's a website here, google.com/alerts /alerts, which is a great way to follow along with what's happening for a certain company. So that's going to give you all of the things, all of the news releases, everything that's happening specifically for those companies. You can set up alerts for specific companies. If it's your company, guys, I would definitely recommend setting up something like this so you can see everything that's happening across a number of different areas, including social media, and do that sentiment analysis, that social listening, to actually make sure that nothing's going too badly. Here's another one here, guys. Just going back to sentiment analysis again. We could look at Yelp sites. We could look at companies that have poor star ratings and see how people respond to them. So you'll go through and you'll see people following those best practices that we've just talked about. You may even spot a couple that are not following best practices, but you'll see those tips that we talked about, acknowledging, apologizing, offering solutions, etc., 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 as responses on Yelp as well. Okay, there we are. All finished there, guys. One more week of content to go. That's going to be mobile marketing. And then we are getting to the exam. Take care, guys. I'll see everybody next week.